Hello, and welcome once again to my channel. I hope everyone is fine. Okay, today's video is probably as a result of the requests that I've been having via emails and all of that. So I thought, okay, you know what? Let me just compile everything together and make a video about this. Now, I've got some people who write to me and they say, oh, Boma, please, can you help? I've been applying for jobs for 1,000 times and this and that, and I'm not able to get any jobs. What is wrong? Is it got to do with my CV? I have all these qualifications, I have this and I have that, but I'm struggling to get interviews, or even when I get interviews, I'm struggling to land a job. So what do I need to do? Please, can you help me? Now, sometimes they'll send me their CVs and things like that, and I will look at it and give my 2 cents about it. So I thought, you know what, since it's a recurring email I keep getting, let me just compile all of these questions together and see if I can address them in one video. So one stop for everyone who is in this situation. I've got my notes down here. So if you see me look down, just know I'm looking at my notes. I don't want to forget anything. Now, the first thing first that you should do to be able to get a job. Now, let me just say this first. I know that it is not easy, okay? And I'm not trying to downgrade or downplay the stress and the trauma people are going through in their quest or in their search for a job as a teacher here in the UK, okay? I understand your pain and I understand all that you are doing and all of that. So this is not a condemnation, all right? So this is just to help somebody, help people, maybe bring all of this into the limelight so you can see what it is that you might be doing wrong, okay? You might not be doing anything wrong, you might be doing everything right, but just in case, okay? So please do not take offense if when I do this, I'm just only trying to help and put this into perspective to help you in your quest for a search of job. Now, the first thing that you need to look at when you are applying for jobs in the UK is your CV, okay? You really need to work on your CV. Now, to you, your CV might look perfect. It's always a good idea to have a look on the internet to see what CVs are there and how can I tailor my CV so that when someone looks at it, the first impression they'll just get, please put this aside, I'm not really interested. Okay, you have to make sure that your CV is done in the right format. Your CV is done in a way whereby it is easy to read. Now, I have seen people send me CVs and it has fonts that I'm thinking, right, what is this font doing in your CV? All these fanciful looking fonts, what are they doing in your CV? I mean, your CV is not a work of art, okay? It is something that's to be taken seriously. So make sure that you have the right fonts on your CV. Now, also make sure that you have a clear layout of your CV. There are CVs that I have also looked at and I'm like, I'm struggling to find out, okay, what are your qualifications? What have you done? How? Because it's all over the place. You know, there's a mixed match of things, and it's very difficult for me to actually understand or try and create a picture in my head of this person's qualifications and skills. So it is very important that you align your CV to the environment where you're going. So the CV that might work for, let's say, Côte d'Ivoire, might not be the same CV that might work for the United Kingdom. So you have to try and find out what sort of CV do they need for the United Kingdom, and how can I tailor my CV to look like that. There's so many CVs out there on the internet that you can use to tailor yours. And if you want, I can also look at your CV. So if you can DM me. I mean, I have applied to countless jobs in the UK, and I've also applied to countless jobs, successful applications. So I'm not saying that my CV is the best, but I can have a look at your CV and see what you can do to tailor it so that it fits the purpose, okay? So no crazy fonts. Don't have different font size. You can do everything in one font size. All you just need to do is to make some things bold that you need to, and to highlight them, and other things you keep in a in the same font size, but no crazy font, no art looking kind of font. It's not necessary. Okay, your CV needs to be crisp and clear. It's a professional document, so you need to show that by sort of CV with the font and all of that that you choose, and the layout is very, very important. Now, also, some people ask, well, I've done this in the past, I've done that in the past. Can I add it in my CV? Is it going to look somehow? Now, let me state this clearly for everyone, okay? In the UK, no experience is a waste. Now, I usually say this to people. It doesn't really matter the amount of certifications you have or qualifications you have on your CV. What they'll be looking at, yes, they need those qualifications, but what they'll be looking at as well is your breadth of skills. So everything that you have done in the past, put it in your CV. Okay, put it in your CV. They would like to see in the UK, yes, your qualifications matter, but they would like to see that this person this person has a range of skills. This person is diverse. You know, this person can fit into any situation. This person has worked in various organizations and in various ways. They've been able to interact with people in different ways, not just in this particular way. So they'll like to see that in your CV. So they not just want, they don't want to see, oh, teaching this, teaching that, teaching that, teaching that, teaching that. And they'll be like, what's more to this person apart from teaching or apart from this profession? What's more to you? And that is what that is why they like a lot of exposure in the UK. Exposure to them is important. Are you good at traveling? Well, it's part of your hobby, isn't it? So don't be afraid to add in the things that you have done in the past in your CV. And you say, oh, they probably say I was a receptionist. Fantastic. If you were a receptionist at some point, fantastic. Then that means you have customer skills, you have front person skills, you can interact with people, you can help people solve problems. So I hope you understand where I'm going with that. Do not be afraid to put things in your CV that you have done in the past, okay? Put them there. If you've done any voluntary skills, so if you've helped in the church, you've helped in the ushering department, you've helped in the children department, you've helped in the offering, put it there. It is part of your experience to life. Put it in your CV. If you've worked as an auxiliary nurse in the past, put it there. Put it there. So that when they look at you, they're going to see a more rounded person than somebody who's just into education and into all of that, and there's nothing more to you. Okay, so it is very important that you show a breadth of skills in your CV. Now, please do not put things that you have not done, because sometimes for interviews they will ask you. So please do not just go and formulate things and put them in there because you want to show a breadth and a diverse skills. No. Make sure that these are things that you have actually done in the past, in the present, or things that you are doing. Okay. Now, in my CV, I have my voluntary roles that I have taken in school, in church, as a board of trustee. All my voluntary roles are there. If I've taken part in any sporting activities, they are there. So if you've been a football coach, fantastic. They want to see that, you know. They want to say, okay, this person can also help in to coach our if we have a football club, this person might help coach some of our students. That gives you an edge, okay? So I would say put things in your CV that you have done that make sense, not just random things, okay? Put things that you have done in your CV that make sense and build a picture of a diverse person. Build a picture of somebody who has a range of skills that they can look at and say, okay, yes, there's more to this person than just the professional is. And therefore, you are a more rounded person, and it will be easier for you to adapt to situations, to new change, to all of this. They want to see that you are adaptable, okay? So I would say put your CV in order and populate it with things that you have done in the past, voluntary work, paid CV. Now, the second one is your professional development, okay? Now, if you say that you are a teacher and you've taught for, let's say, 5 years in a school, and when they look at your CV, there is no professional development that you have done within that time, then that will probably send the wrong message. Okay, so at least you should have 6 CPDs that you do every year. So let's say 2 every term or 1 every term. Okay, so make sure that you are constantly updating yourself, you are looking out for new changes, and you are adapting, you are changing to those new things. Make sure that you have sufficient professional development, and this also needs to go in your CV. Okay, so these are the trainings that I have done in the past, and you list them out. Okay, so they also want to see that you are developing in that career, and not just a case of that you are gathering lots of certification. Gathering teacher in Newcastle, teacher training in Canada, teacher training in Australia, it's still the same thing that you are doing. Okay, rather than going to get more teacher qualifications over the place, I will use that time to give myself some, to engage in some professional development. Okay, behavior management, how to deal with anxiety, phonics, updating, new coding skills, the new way of doing division, grammar in the key stage 3. These are things that I can do, that you could do to populate your CV and to make them feel, okay, this person is actually open to learning. This person is open to development. Okay, rather than today I'm going to go get a qualification in astronomy, and then tomorrow I get a qualification in nursing, and then next tomorrow you're just all over the place. So yes, you've got your teacher qualification, you're qualified as a teacher, then let us see the CPDs that you are doing to develop in this area. Now, of course, this has to do with the profession, so you have to dig into that profession to make sure that you learn all that you can and advance yourself and sort of equip yourself for the 21st century classroom. Okay, now the 21st century classroom. Okay, if you know that you are not good in computing, please go and learn it. Okay, because now a lot of schools don't rely on whiteboard or black, especially in the UK. So you do a lot of PowerPoint slides, you use the interactive whiteboard, you use the projector. Okay, so you manipulate slides, you do all of these things. Okay, you should be able to screen share. So all of these things, you should be able to do them. So develop yourself in that area with ICT so that you can fit into the 21st century classroom. And especially if you are looking to come into the UK as an international teacher or an overseas teacher, they will want to see that you have that skill, that you have that ICT skill to be able to adapt to the United Kingdom and how they teach. Now, I know that a lot of schools in Africa and all of that are also developing in this area. So they're getting into ICT and all of that, which is good. But if you know that you struggle in this area, and if you know that you don't have any qualification or any training to show that you have done this, then I would advise you to find one to do. Okay, find a small, easy, quick one to do that will equip you with those basic skills that you need to be able to function in the 21st century classroom. Now, as I've said, do not be a jack of all trades and master at none. So get your teaching qualification. Let that be the qualification, that if that's the qualification that you want to do, or that's the profession you want to do. And then, as I said, hammer on it. Get a lot of CPDs in that area. Okay, just get as much training as you can, as much exposure that you can afford in that area. And all of this, again, will go into your CV to help them see that, oh yeah, this person has actually spent a lot of time into advancing themselves and advancing the career. Okay, now another thing is behavior management. This is important. This is an important training that you need to do. Okay, now we all know that time is changing. Children are changing, countries are changing, and things are changing, right? We all know that behavioral management, the behavior in the classrooms these days can go north or it can go south, right? So they want to see that you have the right behavior management skills to be able to handle the 21st century child. Okay, so it is very important that you show that you have undertaken some training in this area. And therefore, I mean, it's important because if you're going to be teaching secondary, which is where a lot of the jobs that provide what is it called, COS, is in the secondary sector, right? And in the secondary sector, you're looking at teenagers. So we all know how teenagers behave and all of that. So I would say equip yourself with some behavior management training. So when they look at your CV, they can say, okay, this person has done behavior management to be able to function with the children and in the classroom. Now, it's important that you do that. For primary, yes, it's also important because wherever you go, primary, secondary, not so much university, but I would say it's still the case. You still need some behavior management skills to be able to keep your class functioning. Okay, not under control, but keep your class functioning so that everybody is the right environment for everyone to learn. So please and please and please and please, especially if you can do behavior management training that has to do more with the United Kingdom, that would be fantastic, because behavior management in Nigeria can be different from behavior management in the UK. Okay, I know as well that Africa is changing, and I know that a lot of things are becoming westernized. So fine and good, but if you can find one that specifically is for the United Kingdom, I would say do that. So because it's going to equip you with the skills that you need to function in the classroom. Now, keep up with date with changes. Okay, now for your interview, they might ask you about current trends. They might ask you about current news that have to do with teachers and teacher training in the UK. So it's important that you listen to news, you subscribe to newspapers and things, and you follow the change and tides of teachers and all of that in the UK, because they might ask you a question, or there might just be a conversation going on, maybe after your interview, a little chit chat, and it might be about a topic that has to do with teaching in the UK. And it is, I mean, I'm not saying you should know everything, because you're not in the UK, isn't it? You are probably wherever you are. I'm not saying know everything, but the key things, the key changes, keep yourself up to date. And not only with the UK, keep yourself up to date with whatever changes is happening in wherever you are that have to do with the profession that you are in. Okay, because they might say, oh, we're no longer doing division like this, we're now doing division like that, we're no longer learning multiplication like this. This is how you teach children multiplication. So you should know all of those as much as possible, so that you can fit into the environment, you can fit into the profession, and you're not like in the dark when people talk about things that have to do with the profession. And this is where my channel comes in. Okay, I try as much as possible to bring you news and information about teachers, about changes in immigration, about changes in UK laws by the Department of Education that have to do with teaching. Okay, now this is where I come in. And also your internet, your usual friend, Google. Okay, this is where also Google comes in to be able to give you all of those information. Now, also, if you can, do some training that have to do with social and emotional development. Okay, now I talked about the 21st century child, but let's also not forget the impact that COVID had to do when it comes to children and schools. Okay, so we know that within that COVID time, social and emotional anxiety sort of went up the roof with children and with adults as well. So we had to sort of retrain and equip ourselves to be able to deal with this new influx of change with the children, the cohorts that we have after COVID, and those that we had before COVID, who probably spent maybe a good part of a year or and a half at home, not a year and a half, but a good part of some good chunks of months at home without having to go to school and without having to socialize. Okay, so if you can do a training that has to do with social and emotional development, that would be fantastic. All right, so just to add to your CV to say that, look, I'm up to speed, so I know what is happening. I know that COVID-19 came with some challenges when it has to do with the classroom, and therefore I am equipping myself to be able to handle or deal with these challenges that have come with COVID-19. So I think for me, that is like all of the things that I have to talk about today. So if you've got any questions, as usual, if you've got any comments, please do not forget to write that in the description or the comment section, and I will attend to that. If you need to email me, you've got my email in the description box. Please feel free to email me. Now, as I said, I might not answer your email on time because I have a whole list of emails to attend to. So just be patient. I'll probably get to your email as soon as I can, and I will reply you. Okay. I hope that's been very useful and helpful. If you and I will see you soon.